to me, Abdullah, don't worry. You're safe now. You've made it home. Everything is okay. You've made it home now. Calm down. You're okay now. You're safe. I went there with the idea of only getting a 30-day visa. The lady said to her coworker, give him a 5-year reentry visa and just charge him for the 30-day visa. I don't want to mention no names because I don't want to get them in trouble. But my point is that this was integration immediately, because they took me in and integrated me as a son of theirs. They know that I'm their son, I'm their brother, I'm their cousin. That's it. Period, point blank. He's home. He's made it home. The first thing they said to me is, welcome home. You have made it. You've made it back home. You're safe. So when you say about integrating, the nature of the Gambians and the Africans are nothing but the essential top level tiering of integration, because we are accepted and loved, even though people look at you, but you don't know what they're thinking. They're not thinking bad thoughts. They're just thinking about you, different thoughts. Maybe they're thinking, wow, they're from America, or, this, that, and the third. But oftentimes, in America, through the education system, they try to perpetrate this narrative that Africans don't like the Afro-diasporans. Africans don't like African Americans. Africans don't like Afro-British, on and on and on, and things like this. But when you go to Africa and when you meet Africans, you see that this is a perpetual lie. This is a lie that has did tremendous amount of damage to us. And we as African Americans and Afro-diasporans throughout the world have to start taking ownership and responsibility for believing this lie and not investigating this situation on our own. In fact, oftentimes the truth can be true, because we as Afro-diasporans, African Americans, Afro-British, African, whoever, we buy into this lie that Africans don't like us, and this, that, and the third. This is what they teach us. So what ends up happening when the Africans come to the West, we are sometimes the people at the forefront of, in fact, treating them bad. We African Americans, Afro-diasporans, sometimes are at the forefront of treating Africans bad when they come to America, not the other way around. When African Americans and Afro-British and anybody in the Afro-diaspora goes back to Africa, we're treated with the utmost love. So that lie about, and then, they have so many lies about you guys. It's tremendous. I say one of the biggest issues is marketing. African media has to get a hold of their marketing. Because in America, they still teach us right now that everybody in Africa lives in huts. Everybody in Africa is still running around with bones through their nose, and with these spears, they're going to hit you in the neck with a dart, and then you're going to fall out, and they're going to take your money and rob you and rape you. They're telling this story right now in 2021. I just met two African-American girls yesterday who just yesterday in the marketplace, I was advertising my YouTube page to them. They were telling me the same narrative. Does Africa even have electricity? They asked me. Even my mom asked me, does Africa have electricity? Are you? I do like. Yeah, these are the narratives. Go ahead.
Wow. Now with this notion, yes. Now, thank you, Adulai. With this notion that have been instilled, that have been built within the mindset of people living in the diaspora, the America, Canada, and other places, having this kind of negative posture about Africa still having that kind of cultural mentality, like what you did describe, having that kind of thing to your nose, the East Africans culture or so, into this modern days. Now, tell us now, what role can the media of Africa play? How can a broadcaster like I myself here using this all important media or medium to disseminate the requisite information. How can that be done, and how do you think is going to be bought by Westerners?
So, first and foremost, let me say this to you. Let me give a piece of advice to my brother, to my brothers and sisters who are the media, who are the African media. If you are listening to me today, and if this message reaches you, I have one request for you. One request, please. Is please stop airing all of your dirty laundry. The world doesn't need to know everything you're going through. One thing about America, when I just mentioned to you the murders in Chicago or in Philadelphia or in wherever, all of these murders I mentioned to you, it was a shock value to you. You know why it was a shock value to you? Because America is not pushing that narrative all over the world. You know why America would never tell you? America's not going to let this go crazy? Because America wants to attract people to its shores. And if America tells you all of its dirty laundry, then for surely you will never, ever, ever, ever come. I promise you. America's not going to. I was in Gambia, and I didn't see any homeless people on the streets, on the ground, laying at night. I was traveling at night. I didn't see homeless people. I'm in one of the poorest countries in the world, but I didn't see no homeless people. So I had to ask my Gambian brothers and sisters, do you guys have homeless people? For one, they didn't even really know what that meant. They didn't. I had to like translate it in a way for them to understand what homeless was. But this is one of the poorest countries in the world. America, which some would say is the richest country on the face of the earth, has homeless people from one shore to the other shore. There's no city in this country where you don't see thousands and thousands of people sleep on the streets at night. In the wintertime, snow, freezing, cold, rain, scorching sun, whatever. So you ask yourself, why isn't Africa showing this? Why isn't the African media taking advantage of this to show, look, we don't have any homeless people? So why don't we have homeless people? You know why Africans don't have homeless people? Because they believe in family. And so long as you have a family, you'll have somewhere to live. You can't be homeless if you.
That's
this
true.
is what I love.
True.
This is true. This is I love point. Africa. You won't have homeless. You don't see homeless people on the continent because every African, I don't care what situation you're talking about, they have a family. And so Africa needs to sell this. They need to sell their strong points. They need to hide some of their dirty laundry and don't always, one of the things I tell all the Gambian YouTubers who want to collaborate with me, hey, Abdullah, I want to take part of your platform with YouTube, but I want to talk about politics. No, we're not going to do that because the nature of politics is to bash each other. That's how politics work. You have to bash the other side. Africa does not need right now to bash each other. They need more than they don't need to follow the West. And the West teaches you how politics go. And so you're like, yo, we're going to be like America. And this politician is going to talk bad about this politician and dig up all the dirt on him and talk bad about his family and about, no, we don't need to do that. We need to stay far away from that. What we need to do is to show how Gambia works and lives in its villages, in its compounds, in its neighborhoods. My mother-in-law, every time she makes salat, for the most part, she goes from her compound across to her neighbor's compound and she prays with her neighbor. This is what we need to be showing, is that this lady who could pray in her own house takes her and her daughters, goes over to the neighbor's house to pray with her neighbor. This is stuff that that Africa needs to be doing and the media needs to be doing on the economics level, on every level. They have to show where their strength is. But Africans have to know where their strength is. I, as an African American, I can go there and identify your strengths because I know the opposite in America. So I can go there and say to our brother Cisse, who is doing the production right now. May Allah reward you, Cisse, for the production. You're doing a wonderful job. I can go to the Cisse and say, hey, Cisse, listen, let me show you the differences between America and Africa. But what Cisse does with that information is up to him. Cisse has to be able to take that information and say, okay, thank you, Abdullah. Thank you for the feedback. Let me take that feedback and turn it into something tangible.
No, thank you, Abdullah. You're very consistent on that particular note in terms of making the people understand that I can refer that to inner love. No matter what your situation in Africa is, whether you have some kind of mental illness, whether you are financially depressed, no matter what, there would not be a room for you to be on the street for you to be homeless. Yes. A family will call you. You might be somewhere in your compound with a family. That for sure happen in Africa. That is the inner and agape love African show. Now let me ask you this question. You are in the United States and you have been following the global pandemic. And I can remember WHO, because when Italy was hit bigly, WHO predicted the worst case in Africa. Let me give you back a history. Remember, Gambia did not experience the Ebola epidemic. I experienced it because I was in Liberia. I know how that particular virus was very chaotic. Many people died, and there are a lot of left that were loose. Liberia, Sierra Leone, Nigeria, and in other countries, neighboring Guinea to Liberia. And Africa look at that situations. The World Health Organization look at that situations. They projected a worst case in Africa, and that prediction did not work as they expected. Now, can you tell us what was the role African play, and what do you think the Westerner would think about Africa in that form and manner to say, okay, if the virus goes to Africa, Africa would put up the worst case? And I can show you, Abdullah, you follow the international media, the amount of people that fall prey to the COVID-19.
Okay, so I think I got the brother's question. He has some issues, but I got the question. Alhamdulillah, I'm gonna just answer the question. So when you look at COVID-19, and it's a wonderful question. Thank you for the question. When you look at COVID-19, when you look at the coronavirus throughout the world, we in America, Black Americans, the Afro-diasporans, period, and let me speak specifically about Afro-Americans. Afro-Americans have a high level of tremendous, what you would say, suspect when it comes to vaccines and things in America. The powers that be, the medical establishment in America, they have used vaccines in clinical trial studies many times, more than just, we have some really famous events, and then we have other lesser known events where they have experimented on African Americans using vaccines. But so African Americans, they have a tremendous level of being suspect, of being worried and fearful of the medical society regarding vaccines and things like this. So when Black people in America heard that they had basically made their assessment that Africa would be hit tremendously hard by this coronavirus, I can tell you a lot of Black people, they immediately, said to themselves, the reason why you're saying that is because you may have, planned it that way in a sense. You may have designed that virus in a sense, hoping that it would help you out with that. A lot of Black people, they have a lot of nefarious views when it comes to these vaccines. Population control at the head of them. through many different ways, population control, definitely through the reproduction system. So when you look at Africa, when you look at Italy, you mentioned a great point about Italy. When you look at Europe and how hard Europe got hit with the coronavirus, in America, sad part about it is in America was, a lot of it was in its poorer communities. But when you look at these nations that claim to be some of the most powerful, if not the most powerful nations on the earth, they were the ones who lost the most capital at the hands of the coronavirus. They're the ones who experienced the most deaths, the most dead bodies in freezer trailers. And they were saying Africa, these places, they have tremendously good medical establishments, and it was dead bodies everywhere. In America, the last time I checked, this was a long time ago, they were over 300,000 deaths. So I can pretty much sure BC, most people expect Africa, yeah, exactly, will die from the virus. So because Africa doesn't have the so-called organized medical facility that a lot of these Western countries did, they automatically assume that Africa was just about to get wiped out. Africa was about to be over. They might have successfully wiped out half of the continent with the coronavirus. But the truth is that didn't come to fruition. Africa has the lowest coronavirus count of any continent on the face of this earth. I was in Gambia. The Gambians are not wasting their days thinking about the coronavirus and what it's doing. Gambians, they're like, they have a good level of rebellion in them. So even though the Gambians, they're told to wear their masks and social distance, Gambians, they have a little level of rebellion in them. I ain't see a mask. I didn't even wear a mask the whole time I was there. It felt wonderful to be out of America and amongst my people, where health was vibrant, where life was vibrant, and it's not like in the West where everything had to come to a screeching halt. But I want to mention 2 points. Number one is that I'm a believer in God. I'm a Muslim. I believe in Allah. I believe in my Lord. And so Allah says in the Quran that they plot and plan, but Allah is the best of those that plans. So when I look at, these forces that be, how they plot and plan on Africa, and they have been trying to destroy Africa for hundreds of years. They have introduced plagues to Africa on every level that you could imagine. But Allah is the best of those that plans. So when you look at Africa today, what effect has all of their energy that they've brung to Africa, what effect has that done to the continent? I see we're running out of time, so I'm gonna just finish this point.
Yes, we're going 8 minutes. We're going 8 minutes. We are going 8 minutes into the time now. So I just wanted to land on this, then we'll do our closing part. Yes, I just wanted to land on your thought on the entire COVID-19. Then we can go to our closing statement.
Okay, so what effect has this orchestrated energy that the world powers have done to try to wipe the African people off of the continent? It hasn't worked because Allah has protected these people. Africa has the youngest population in the whole world, the fastest growing population in the whole world. The average age in the whole entire continent of Africa is 25 years old. The average age in the Gambia is 15 years old. By 2050, Africa will have the largest population of anywhere on the earth, surpassing China, surpassing India. We are already in 2020. So just 2021. So just 30 years from now, less than 30 years from now, this conversation is going to change. And because of this, the world is scared to death right now. They are, so, when you look at the population numbers in Europe, dwindling. They're losing, they're not producing enough kids. They're not producing enough people to sustain their populations. In Africa, you have a population boom. And so to me, this is the saving grace of the story of Africa. Stay on the lookout for Africa. Africa is going to grow to be the most powerful place in the world very soon, and Allah knows best. I believe this to be the truth. This is the time. This is the now. Thank you so much for everybody that came. Thank you to those who hosted me. Like I said, my name is Abdullah. My channel is My Journey, My Hijra on YouTube. Please follow my channel. Thank you guys so much. This has been wonderful.
Okay, great, folks. Let me on behalf of the entire group, I want to say my name is Hapnas Koli. I want to thank my brother Adulai all the way there in the United States for joining us. It has been a very interactive program here. The program is called the Repatriation Dialogue. This program, we're going to fix a way that Adulai going to show you. We're going to chase it out. We're going to see how well this program is going to come, whether every week. We're going to figure out that, and we're going to make sure that we're going to have different kind of program, but more especially is to bring out the beauty of Africa, not even the Gambia, Africa in totality. People encouraging people to see reason to repatriate or to invest in Africa. That's what we're going to do here continuously. I'm going to be the host. I want to say many thanks to every one of you that are viewing us via whatsoever means. We want to appreciate your effort. Today is the inaugural edition of the program. Thank you. This is TG24, the Gambia 24 online television. Abdullah, I want to say thank you. It's a pleasure meeting you, and I want to encourage you to do more and more. Continue